All right, welcome to another video from the chart readers. Today we will be looking at the EV and charging sector. We will do what we always do, right? We will look at the daily and the weekly charts to see what is setting up. We have our 5 moving averages, these horizontal support and resistance lines that I do manually draw, and then when we're done up here, we use the MACD and the RSI as our lower indicators. Hey, before I get started, if you could please hit like on this video, that would be much appreciated. It does really good things with the YouTube algorithms and all that sort of stuff. So getting into the meat of it. So the last time we made this video was the 15th, right? And it looked like there was a nice little curve forming, and we definitely closed above the 8 on the 15th. However, I remember saying it, and you should already know what I'm about to say, right? There needed to be confirmation before it was well worth jumping into, right? Again, breaking a line is a good thing, but we're not here for a single pop, right? We want confirmation because, again, if this was up here, it really would have shown a little bit of a chance for sustained up, right? The confirmation was bad, and then again, you just get a bad downtrend, right? So this is why that next day confirmation is just so important, right? Look, where are we right now? We've had a number of red days. Obviously, today looked a little good with a 1% green candle, but look, we are way below the 8 moving average. The 8 looks like it wants to keep going down too, right? And if we stay away from the 8, it's definitely not a good thing. Our RSI is definitely pretty low at 25, but again, look, we've been down here for quite a while, so I'm not even really reading into these too much. MACD is definitely negative, so that's not a great thing. Hey, I'm sorry, my cat's at the door real quick. Hold on. Hi. Oh, did she leave? There you are. Come on in. Hurry up. Hurry up. Hurry up. Hurry up. Hurry up. Hurry up. Good. Okay, sorry about that. Again, though, like I said, this is not looking good at the daily at all. So coming into the weekly, look, we talked about this, right? There was a really good chance of this coming down into the 160s if this 190 line was lost. And I mean, it took 2 weeks, and really a lot of it happened last week, right? But once you start trading below the moving averages, that's when, you know, the lines kind of matter a little more, right? Because again, these are computer generated. These are going to move. Once you're below them, you're kind of in no man's land, right? And I have to keep zooming out a bit. So sorry to do that so much, but that's why the 160 number seems so realistic. We're coming up on the 200, right? We're below the 50, we're below the 100, below the 20, below the 8. I mean, are we going to lose the 200? That would be really bad. I will say we've seen a number of times where we actually hit the 200 and get a pretty hard bounce up. So hopefully that's the case here. But right now, it really seemed like we were coming to 160, which ultimately was this 200. I am going to zoom out a bit. I know I don't like to do it too much, but look, it's been a long time since we've been under the 200. And then really, I'm still going back. And again, I hate zooming out. You know that a lot. So look, a couple things to notice, right? We've really only had a small window of losing the 200. And there were obviously no resistance lines, right? I don't have any I don't have any resistance lines from back here, right? But you lose the 200 and you get a bunch of bad weeks. You pretty much get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You almost get 2 months of bad. But then, hey, once you recover and break the 200, it's monstrous, right? So, again, the goal... oh my gosh, sorry for all the zooming. The goal would be hit the 200 and bounce up. The worst thing that could happen is lose this, right? And I mean, I guess I will make some lines. Let's put one right there. I think that's a real good line. We'll put one, I think, right. Let's use this one. That's fine. Sorry. I think that's a good line. And, you know, I think that's it. I think that's all we really need for down there. So, all right, let's just put this one. Might as well. We'll use the top of that guy. Okay, that's a good 3 lines under the 200. Hopefully, we don't have to worry about those. But again, it becomes a lot more realistic as the days get bad, right? So, again, trade safely. Make sure you're watching the Nasdaq, right? This is very much Nasdaq dependent. Let me just flash it real quick before we go to the next one. So, look, Nasdaq, right? It wanted to go break the 100. It definitely didn't. we got a decent bounce. I was happy to see that bounce, but unfortunately these last 2 days haven't been very good, right? I know this looks like a good candle, but hey, we didn't get over the 8. I definitely want to get over the 8. I like that peak. That's a pretty good peak. So tomorrow will matter more than today really did, right? But 2 days under the 8, not a good thing, right? Hopefully we do get up tomorrow, and then just remember it's a short week. So Tesla finished off, and we will go into Ford. Okay, look, this is a technical beauty. It really is, right? Just riding the 8, riding the 8, riding the 8. It's starting to get a little tight here. We're starting to horizontal a little bit, okay? Now, I'm liking that this is trying to peak up a little bit. That's nice, actually. But again, for me at this point, we're starting to horizontal a little more than up. Look, if Nasdaq does well, hopefully we break the 200 and go up. But at this point, especially if you got in a little early, right? Because we've been talking about Ford for a while. If you got in early, I would start banking profits. Maybe you don't have to sell all of it. Hey, if you think it's going to go up, hey, don't get rid of it all. But I would start banking profits now that we're going horizontal. Because again, if we lose this cluster of 3, that would be really bad, right? Let me zoom in on this. Then we definitely drop to about 13. That said, I do like that at least this is kind of individual and this is individual. They're definitely close to each other, but I like that the cluster is down here and hopefully will be our support versus having to break over that, right? That would kind of suck, actually. So Ford, again, has done really well, just trending the 8, breaking some lines, difficulty here, bouncing up and down, and this is just getting a little tight and horizontal, right? So, but yeah, Ford can't be. I'm happy with that. You can't be too disappointed, right? And look, you kind of see it, just beautiful weekly, and this is what we kind of want to see on Tesla, right? Let's hit the 200 on the weekly, and then just bounce up furiously, right? Literally, I mean, just almost 2 months of good trading after a nice bounce off the 200, right? It's actually a pretty common thing. As bad as it is to lose the 200, a bounce off the 200 can be a very powerful thing, right? So again, just be a little careful with Ford. If it breaks the 200, that'd be great. And again, RSI is pretty low, so this could still have a nice couple day run. Mullen, M-U-L-N, Mullen. Okay, so I've obviously been pretty bearish on this thing for a long time, right? We made the last video on the 15th. We had closed under the 8 on the 15th, and I really said this is not looking good, right? And again, you go from 29 to 23. That's definitely a big percentage of, today alone was 11% loss, I think, on an offering is what I saw. I'll be honest, I'm not really looking at this one too much right now, right? Because there's just so much that needs to happen before it's just worth, I'm not hating on this thing, I promise you, but I've literally been saying the exact same thing for weeks now, because this is, I've made this video a while, right? This sounded like a good deal at 75 cents. This sounded like a good deal at 50 cents. This sounded like a good deal at 40 cents. This sounded like a good deal at 30 cents. This sounded like a good deal at 25. It's 23 now, and I know someone's thinking it sounds like a good deal, but just remember, this is an unproven company, and the times are not good right now. The Nasdaq is not just bullish and running on all-time highs, right? So Mullen is a dangerous place to have your money. Now look, can the meme army come and put crazy volume and do good things? Yeah, it definitely can, but you don't want to hope for that, right? So again, I'm not bashing this thing by any means, but just bad weeklies, right? There was a good little pop here, and hey, if you rode it, nice, but look, 4 weeks well under the 8, right? There was plenty of time to get out of this, and there's a lot of emotion in this one, right? And trading is about taking emotion out of it. So LIDR, man, this thing made what looked like a good run and then just ultimately failed it really hard, right? So what looked like was going to be a good run definitely lost way too much on the next day, right? So this looked like a good break, definitely good confirmation of this break, right? The next day, though, just really, really uncertain. And look, that wick is definitely a little alarming that thing happened during the day, right? At some point, it just flew and then crashed pretty hard, right? So again, just not, I mean, this was a good confirmation on this two break. Don't get me wrong, right? I'm not going to pretend it wasn't, but yeah, just real interesting with that wick, especially. Following day, like I said, you lose too much. You never want to lose more than 50%, right? That's not a thing you want to do. This thing lost almost 100%, right? From there, we're now starting to lose the 20. Hey, we at least recovered, but again, we need a little confirmation, right? Because we did just lose the 20. So what are we going to do? We're going to go under, unfortunately. Now, look, this is not the place we want to be, right? Because we were struggling to get over the 20. It looked like this was the 20 break, and clearly it wasn't, right? And let's be honest, this was really the first break attempt since we've been downtrending on this, right? So we've seen it where it actually needs 2 or 3 attempts to break it. So LIDAR a little scary, and yeah, I mean we're actually sitting at all-time lows right now, right? We literally are. So be careful here. This is not where you want your money. Really sad too. It looked like it was going to break the 20 and make a move, but definitely did not. EVgo. Again, same story, right? I'm going to zoom out. This one's not as hardcore. So this thing was moving in a horizontal and is now kind of starting to do this trending under these. There's been a few attempts at the 20, a few attempts at the 20. So this one kind of seemed like it might do something, right? And really, that's not a bad back-to-back, right? You break this one, you then break this one. But look, this was not the confirmation for both lines, right? You break the 8, you then break the 20, you then need another confirmation. Instead, you lose the 20, right? Hey, this one did close above both, but again, you still need one more confirmation, right? And again, just a little too choppy. I've been saying it with EVgo. You can kind of see it actually on this line. It's pretty much trading horizontal on this line, and now for the second time, looks like it's actually going to lose it and maybe head on down, which is not looking good. Is this at, no, it's not quite at all-time lows. Does it get worse after that 5 something? No, at 549 is all-time lows. So, and in all honesty, it kind of seems like it wants to go that way. So be careful with EVgo. Look, a lot of negativity across most of this, right? I realize that, but you know, it is what it is. The lines are the lines, right? So NIO, man, NIO is relatively new to the list. And a lot of the same thing we just said with LIDAR, right? This was trending under the 20. It looked like there was going to be a good break here. Definitely didn't happen. Looked like it wanted to do it again. This is actually where we made the last video, right? On the 15th. But unfortunately, it just kind of went horizontal with this line right here and then ultimately failed. Really sad, actually, because look, here you break the 8, here you break the 20. On the next day confirmation, look, I always say good confirmation is actually doing better than the candle, right? We at least kind of, I mean, you can pretty much say we were on 50% candle to the penny, right? Nonetheless, it's an interesting confirmation, but under this line, right? This one, again, same thing. If it was good confirmation, it would go up and you would see an uptrend, right? We're going to get to it on the next one with Polestar. Polestar's been killing it, actually, right? But yeah, these were not beautiful confirmations. And then obviously we see what happens when we go down, right? So again, just really sad because it looked like it wanted to make a move, but ultimately just kind of like the rest of it, right? Just been kind of failing with the Nasdaq. So not a great weekly either, right? Even in those attempts, it wasn't a good weekly chart to go into, right? And hey, I've always said it, if the weekly is not good, you're not going to have great dailies, right? So maybe that situation would have been a little different if this thing was over the 8, right? But yeah, trading under the 8 on the weekly makes it that much harder to do great things on the daily. By far, this should be the best one here. Polestar, PSNY. Oh man, this thing ripped 20. I did not even see that. I'll be honest with you. So look at that. Again, we talked about it, right? If it broke this line, I had said set an alert to break this line and get in. Man, it just gapped up from there. And then this is why I love it when the moving averages aren't that close to each other, right? Instead of having to battle the 100, it literally had the chance to just kind of go, 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 go. And I mean, look, this is a 91 RSI, right? That is monstrous to say the least. The only crazy thing is, though, look, we're on the daily. There is no 200. The 100 just started forming, actually, right? So we are actually over all the moving averages right now. So really, really crazy right here. Gotta love this action right here, right? And look, again, strong weekly. It's actually still pretty low on the weekly, right? So even if this thing has a good little healthy pullback, I mean, this weekly is still setting up pretty well, right? Definitely want to see next week confirmation and make sure we're still over the 20. But man, again, look at this thing, just monster, right? And again, this is why it's better to have distance between moving averages than try to battle these, right? But again, once you start horizontaling, you either go up or down, and this is a pretty good example of it, right? So look, I'll be honest, I would be real worried here if I was in this or trying to jump in, right? They have a high RSI. Just watch the volume here, make sure nothing crazy happens, but gotta love it, right? There's plenty of room for you to bank some profits. Look, if this thing drops to about right here to about 720, that's still a pretty good day tomorrow, in all honesty, right? You're gonna be over the 100, kind of closer than ideal to 50%, right? But yeah, ideally, look, stay over 750, stay over this 762 line, right? I mean, at this point, this thing kind of wants to start getting back to 8. This is definitely going to be a big one, right? This 799. Is it going to get over this peak right here? Because look, if it gets over this peak, it's really going to probably come to maybe this right here, right? So yeah, look, again, great trading here. This is, like I said, probably the only good thing on this video. So this is actually a new stock that was requested, so I don't have any lines on this. I will have to draw some lines, but man, look at this thing. So look, Nikola. I mean, really, a lot of it just kind of happens right here, right? Once you lose that right there, it's a cluster of the 20, the 100, and the 8. Once that was lost, that for sure was pretty bad. Obviously, it tried to stay with the 50 right here. Once it got under the 50, I mean, this is just textbook, right? All we're really doing is trading under the 8, make an attempt here at breaking the 20. Very bad confirmation the next day, right? That's definitely nowhere near good confirmation. Comes back again, tries to attempt on the 20 and goes back. So look, pretty textbook right here, in all honesty, right? And really moving a lot like the others that we've seen. There's some pretty easy lines to draw here, so I'm going to use this real quick instead of jumping to the weekly. I'll use this one right here. I think that's a pretty important line right there. And yeah, I mean, I guess the bottom of this thing, really. Let's raise this just a little bit. And then let's see what the weekly looks like. Yeah, again, I mean, are we at all-time lows here with this thing? Yeah, we are, right? Again, that's a horrible place to be, right? Got to be careful right there. I'll make one more line up here. But again, in all honesty, this is definitely all-time lows right now. Definitely real bad negative 10% day. And look, just trading under the 8, right? This is, again, textbook why we say love the 8. The 8 will lead you to good places for real. So yeah, I really wish we actually did this last week, right? Because I would have definitely talked about all-time low. Once you lost this number especially, it got real bad. And I mean, it happened in 2 days. But yeah, that's what all-time lows will do to you, right? You got to stay away from all-time lows. VLDR. Okay, where are we? Oh man, we are in a tight channel, right? We're at least trying to do an uptrend, but again, we're kind of back stuck into this tight channel, right? So it was at least down here, and now it's up here, but look, where are we, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 moving averages out of the 5 we have, right? So this is nothing more than horizontal trading until we break either above the 100 or below the 20. So again, I wouldn't jump into this. I would just kind of watch and wait until it happens, because look, we saw it with Polestar, right? If it breaks up, those could be real monstrous, right? And we've seen it with other ones where when it breaks down, it can get real ugly real quick. So again, stay away, but definitely don't look away. Just wait to see what happens with this channel forming here. Solo was doing all right. I remember it started to cool off on the last video. Yeah, I do remember this, right? So made a good break, but definitely a real bad confirmation on the 15th when we made the last video, right? So that's real disappointing. And obviously you can see what happens when bad confirmation happens, right? Again, I say the same thing over and over, but it really is to just engrave it in the head, right? Good confirmation will really make or break your game, right? Hey, if you got in here, you broke the 100, and then you see this is happening, you get out early, right? You, especially once you lost this candle, you get out at 129, but you at least banked yourself a good little profit here, right? And again, you would have avoided all this. For sure, once you lost the 8, you got to start getting worried, right? Because now you're also into 50% of at least your profits, right? So again, this is why stop losses are a beautiful thing. It's something I probably should talk about a little more at some point. But for now, we'll just chart it, and then we'll do some other stuff as it comes. So last but by no means least is ChargePoint. So look, ChargePoint moves a lot like Tesla, right? And man, I don't remember it lining up well with Tesla last week. I don't think it's doing it right now either. Yeah, they're both kind of under some lines, but nothing specific. But again, I've liked this one because I remember it moving a lot like Tesla. But look, where are we? 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 moving averages out of the 5, and we are under them all. That is not where we want to be, right? We definitely were here before. It looked like it tried to jump back in and hopefully ride the channel a little bit more. But again, I know I talked about this, right? That would have been really hard to break. So definitely didn't even get close to that cluster of 3, and just at this point, not looking good. Again, I know a lot of people are passionate about this one, and I'll be honest with you, ChargePoint seems like a good fundamental company. I don't know too much about it, but I know it moves a lot like Tesla, and Tesla is the first on this one for a reason, right? So that said, look, the lines matter a little more in my book, and this thing seems like it's coming to 1033, and if we lose 1033, we're basically going to hit all-time lows after that, right? How low is all-time lows? 944, right? 950 basically. So yeah, you don't want to get down there. You really don't, right? So let me put 2 lines. I'm going to put one at the IPO, so at where it started, that was the original dollar price. And then I'm going to put one at the bottom of that. That's going to be the all-time low break, right? So do not want to get much lower, but again, it could get really bad if we lose 1033. These 2 lines, and you saw how tight of a cluster it was over there, right? So hopefully these are a good support. But again, that's, I mean, almost 20% down, right? You're about $2 lower. Dollars 10%, right? So don't lose another 20%. That's no bueno, right? So hey, be safe out there. I hope you're trading well. Again, this is very much Nasdaq dependent, so, and a lot of these are still very early stage, so do keep that in mind. But hey, trade safely.